Welcome to the Women's Connection. I'm Barrie-Louise Switzen, your moderator. The Women's Connection is a program about events shaping women's lives and helping one gain authentic power on a personal or professional level. So won't you stay tuned?
We all lead hectic lives, but how do we slow down? And with me is a guest who's going to show us how to slow down, but still be empowered to continue in what we're doing. At one time, this was considered you're doing what? And now it's considered you're not doing this? So to explain what I'm talking about, I would like to welcome Robyn Priti Ross. Welcome.
Hi. Pleased to meet you.
Thank you. Same here, and glad you could join us.
Thank you for having me.
I don't know what to call you. Do I call you Priti or do I call you Robyn?
Oh, okay. Well, Robyn Ross is my name, and Priti, P-R-I-T-I, is a name given to me about 15 years ago. It was a guru relationship as far as me wanting to deepen my path of yoga. So it was really a deep yogic path. And Priti actually means love. So it was, for me, a deepening in the path of love and loving myself and staying connected to myself. So Priti meant to me someone who's loving herself, who's caring for herself, who is on the path to wellness. So that's what Priti means. But some people call me Priti and some people call me Robyn, and whatever comes out is good.
You were always in yoga. Did you always do it, or did you transition from another profession into yoga?
That's a good point. I was actually in the theater arts for a while, and then went into the restaurant industry, into special events coordinating for the Hard Rock Cafe and Planet Hollywood and Caroline's Comedy Club, and kind of like this wild and crazy life I had. And all the while, actually, my parents told me about this health and yoga center called Kripalu in Lenox, Massachusetts. And they said, oh, Robyn will love it there. Everybody's open and spiritual, and I've always been interested in this path. And I walked through the doors of Kripalu in about 1985. And there was something about the way it smelled, the way people carried themselves. It was a yoga center, so it felt really grounded and connected. And people were nice, but they weren't that trippy kind of, hi. They were very grounded and open. And I immediately felt at home. And I was like, this is something that I want to cultivate. This is the kind of community that I want to be involved in. People who were centered and warm and interested in the deeper reasons for living. So I got involved in the yoga, Kripalu yoga, which Kripalu actually means compassion. So it's a really gentle, compassionate form of yoga that's about the internal experience. I mean, there's a moderate and a vigorous Kripalu as well, but it's mostly about the experience, the internal self. So it isn't about the yoga where you got this really tiny little yoga butt and you got to wear this fancy clothes. It's more about the yoga that allows you to come inside, settle inside, feel yourself, and then have the expression of the asana. So it's more of an internal out, and I was really attracted to that, and that's how I started my path.
Just mentioned something, an asanat. What is
asanat?
asanat?
Okay, sure. Asana, A-S-A-N-A, which means seat. Stillness, to come inside. So those yoga postures.
Oh yes,
postures.
I'm very familiar with those.
So asana is the Sanskrit word for posture. So when you do a yoga asana, you do a yoga posture. It's just the Sanskrit word of that.
Well, my days of doing yoga are really over. Let's put it this way. I was standing on one leg in a yoga class, and where you stand on one leg and your hands up and around and you're grabbing your foot from behind.
Yes, yes.
And I was doing that, and I was doing great. My instructor came by and she tweaked me. Then I wound up with a chiropractor, and he said he's never seen such a sprain in his entire life.
Really?
And I just said, that's it. So I don't do yoga anymore.
And
I really feel like I'm missing out now.
Well, maybe you should come to my class, because the the kind of yoga that I teach is really about self-responsibility, really listening to your body, really going, not pushing and forcing the way we do in this culture, and the way some yoga has become very much of a athletic sport. This kind of yoga, you go slow and listen. And as a teacher, because I've become a teacher trainer as well, I actually teach teachers how to assist in classes, making sure that exact thing doesn't happen. The exact thing of was you walk over to a body, to its own musculoskeletal system, there needs to be the depth of respect for that body, not to make that body into something you think the posture should look like, but how does this body move, slow and connected. So the teacher is to really slow down and really connect into the body and see what the healthy alignment is. So nobody should ever come over to your body or tweak it or push it or force it. Work with you to say, how does that feel? Does it feel, do you feel more steady now? Do you feel more grounded? Lean on me. Let me support you here. So there's a real consciousness on how to adjust or assist somebody in a posture that I've got a big thing about. So that's exactly why. That's exactly why.
Well, maybe I'll try it again. I'm not quite sure, but I know one of the things that you're very big on is meditation as well as yoga.
Yes.
All right. But more important, you're into self-care.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about this before we get into some yoga stuff and meditation.
What's happening is, as a yoga teacher, I've made it my path to live and walk my talk as best as I can, you know? So I was at a KITA conference, which is a Kripalu Yoga Teachers Association conference, and all the yoga teachers were running around from workshop to workshop, all stressed out, and I thought, there's something funny here, you know? And there was this gentleman and I said his name is Jim Reedy, and we said, there's something about service, people in service, and how can they learn to give and to do really balanced and connected. So originally I got into the art of self-care because I wanted to be of service in a balanced way. So I devised this program called Refilling Your Well, which has become a huge program that I do at Kripalu twice a year. And now it's not just yoga teachers, now it's anybody who wants to come and refill the well. So
So what do you do?
So it's a very comprehensive program. Actually, it's almost like a course in self-care. And the first thing we do is start to understand the benefits of self-care. So the essence of how the nervous system works and why and how it's important to balance the nervous system. There's the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight and the drive that creates the biochemicals that goes throughout the system. And then we have the parasympathetic tone, which is the relaxation response that naturally balances the sympathetic drive. And what we do in our lives is constantly elicit that emergency response. And what yoga and meditation does, and mindfulness, and positive affirmations, and deep breathing, is elicit the parasympathetic tone, the relaxation response, which is an inborn natural system that literally draws the sympathetic tone downward. So that's a kind of a simple way to explain that. So what I do is I first start with understanding the benefits of that, so how it enhances your own life to utilize some of these really simple tools. And that's the key. You don't necessarily have to go to an ashram or go to India or do anything really intense to elicit that relaxation response. I know even before we started taping here, I just sat for a few moments and did 3 long, deep breaths. And regardless of even where my mind is, the body thinks, oh, everything's okay. So the sympathetic drive, which is that fight or flight, just automatically starts to tone down. I don't even have to tell it anything. The body itself will start to relax. So what I do is I teach little tools to incorporate throughout the day. And what's important is not only to do the classic tools of, as I mentioned, deep breathing, which I'd love to show you how to do that.
Oh, I'd love to do it.
Great. So we'll do that in a moment.
Okay.
And some deep breathing and meditation, which just really means one pointed concentration. So our minds go all over the place. And what would it be if we could train the mind to be focused, to be still, to say just this? So whatever else is going on right now, Barrie, what's really present is just you and I sitting here having a caring conversation, wanting to inspire other people. Like anything else that is not really present, this is what's present. So this is what's important to me right now. This is where my heart is, and this is where I place my attention. So I'm not like, I'm just, hi. So that creates this sense of balance in me.
By deep breathing, those 3 long breaths,
right,
wherever you are, will calm you down.
Yes.
Because I know what I do is when I get into a stressful situation and my heart goes pitter-patter, I say, Hum Tat Sat.
Oh, beautiful.
And I do that.
A mantra.
Yeah, and I just keep doing that and keep doing. You're supposed to do it for 10. Sometimes I do it more, depending on how stressed I am.
That's wonderful.
And I just do it.
Do you find that settles you, that relaxes you?
It will calm me down so that I don't go into this hysterical mode, and by hysterical, not screaming or anything. It's just anxiety.
Anxiety, right. That's exactly what I'm talking. So the anxiety mode is that sympathetic drive. It's that fight or flight. There's some danger perceived in your body, whether it's imagined or whether it's real. There's something perceived that you have to take care of. So it revs up the biochemicals in your body, increases the heart rate, increases the blood pressure, etc. The deep breathing is the quickest and easiest way to purify the nervous system. That's one way. Another way is mantra. That's meditation. It's meditation with sound. And what it does is that's focusing your mind, Barrie, in the present moment, because that's all that you're feeling. So the vibration of constant mantra is stopping your mind, Barrie, from going, it's creating that one pointed concentration to bring you present. And that's why you do it over and over again, because the mind goes, they call it in yoga, the monkey mind.
Oh, I got lots of that.
The monkey
lots
mind.
Of monkey minds.
You know the monkey mind, right? Well, we all know the monkey mind. We all have the monkey mind. And then what I teach are ways to harness the monkey mind. And the thing is, not one tool fits everybody. I'm hearing from you that mantra, which means repetitive sound, works for you. So what I do is also on the nurturing retreat is, as I mentioned, many people have different things that light them up, that refill their well. So I bring them into this meditation and relaxation after a little bit of yoga, getting their nervous system calm, and I have them dream. Just dream of all the little things in life that sustain you, that nourish you, that create this sense of wellness. And they're little teeny things. And so, for instance, for me, although this doesn't always happen, but the sunlight on the water, like on the Hudson River,
right.
When the sunlight hits the water, it looks like little angels to me. And I have to tell you, I get like a child. Like a pure child, just like fireworks. They're like fireworks to me. So I'm cognizant that this little thing of the little angels on the water thrills me. Okay, everybody's got things that thrill them. This absolutely thrills me. Like it's like I could feel it viscerally in my stomach, and my chest opens up. So what I do is I find what all those little things are for people. And we make them cognizant and make lists and lists of things that nurture you. And the thing is, all these things, normally, I would say 9.99 out of 10 don't cost any money.
What are some of the other things? Okay, we have deep breathing.
Right.
We do my home tatsat. What other things can people do if those two don't work for them?
You can sit, and I'd love for you guys to do this at home. Sit and start to think about what are the little things that nurture you. So, as I said, the sunlight on the water for me. When the leaves move in a tree, like a branch to the wind, if I stop and I look at that, my nervous system starts to soften. So this is what I encourage. So I walk through my day, and there are so many little things that I could just stop and take in. And when I do them, I don't just go, oh, those roses are really pretty. I go, wait a minute. If I stop and I actually like to touch roses, not smell them. You know how soft they feel?
Yes.
So I love to touch roses. So as I stop and I make it cognizant and I touch the rose.
Just like a baby's tush.
Like a baby's tush. And what it does, this is the key, is it actually relaxes my nervous system. So if I'm leading a life where I am looking for all of these little nurturing things, and this becomes my practice. So you have a practice of mantra, a practice of meditation. I'm offering a practice of self-nurturing activities that you can do throughout your day. And this is practice. That's why it's a course. Like, you learn what are those little things and how do you incorporate them through the day. And one of the things I say is to schedule your life around your nurturing activities instead of your nurturing activities around your life. So you say to yourself every day or twice a week from 9 to 9:15, I'm going to sit with my cup of tea and I'm going to do my mantra. And you don't make any appointments from 9 to 9:15. And you say to other people, this is another thing I like to say, I'm not saying no to you, I'm saying yes to me.
Well, that's very nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's a funny thing. We would not continue to drive our car without gas. We'd stop. We'd fill up the gas. In fact, we fill up the tank before it gets empty. But our bodies and our souls, we wait till they're not only empty, but depleted. Before we take care of ourselves. Is our human body, we tend to go to a place of depletion. Rather than doing these nurturing activities, whether they're mantra or meditation or yoga or looking at the sunlight on the water, to make a conscious lifestyle, a deep relationship with yourself. You say, wait a minute, I'm worth it enough every day to look at 5 minutes. If you can do 5 minutes a day of something that soothes your soul, no matter what it is, it relaxes your nervous system and you will start to refill your well before it gets depleted.
Does that include eating chocolate for 5 minutes a day?
Sure. If it makes you happy, I say eat chocolate. Dark chocolate.
Okay.
For sure. Whatever you need to do in your life to start to reclaim your sense of self by gathering your tools, whether, as we said, they're a little yoga, even if it's just a little stretching, a little breathing, take a walk, some mindful eating. Mindful eating means have a piece of chocolate and love it. Like, love it. Instead of eating the chocolate, bad about eating the chocolate, if you love that piece of chocolate, your system is going to really enjoy the piece of chocolate. It doesn't mean eat 3 bars of chocolate. It means eat one and nourish it. Enjoy it. And that's what I want women to do, is to begin to enjoy the life by just incorporating little sweet activities throughout your life. And it's only you that knows what lights you up, that creates that sense of wellness in your life. And it's a practice, just like every other practice, every other ancient practice. all brings you back to that little sense of self where you feel deeply connected. Would you like me to show you some deep breathing?
Oh, sure.
You want to do that?
Absolutely.
I'm going to start by, so this is one of the easiest ways to purify your nervous system, okay? So it'll start to change the acid and the alkaline system in your body, just begin to release, the exhalation releases some of the toxins from the system, and the inhalation oxygenates every blood, every tissue, every cell, and it's just as important to exhale to release the carbon dioxide from the bloodstream as well. So we have a ratio of inhaling and then exhaling. So the exhaling is just as important.
Now,
okay?
do you exhale through your nose or do you exhale through your mouth?
Well, ideally, it's best to inhale and exhale through the nostrils, because nostrils have those little silica, little nose hairs that actually is like a little filter. And the exhalation through the nostrils create a lengthening. But for now, because we're learning it, we're going to inhale through the nostrils and we're going to exhale through the mouth as if we're blowing out a row of candles. And what that will do is extend the exhalation a little bit. Okay? So,
how many times do you do this?
I can just do 3 long deep breaths and I'm set to go. But it's like anything else. The better you get at it, the more you do it, the easier it becomes and the more efficient and powerful it becomes. So I wouldn't say push it, I would say really get the essence of it. And getting the essence of it is really all that matters. Okay? So it's called the 3-part yogic breath. It's in the diaphragm,
All right.
the rib cage, and the clavicles and the clavicular breath up into the collarbones. So it's the belly, the ribs, and the upper chest. So it becomes a full deep breath from diaphragm to collarbones into the heart, and exhale from the heart back down to the diaphragm. So I don't know if you've ever done any diaphragmatic breathing before?
No, this would be a first. That's
Okay.
okay.
Oh,
We can,
okay.
You know,
so
first,
you may be a reverse breather, which happens. Some people tend to breathe in and bring the breath all the way up, kind of suck in the breath. So just take a raw deep breath in.
Well, my question is, when you do it, do you expand your belly?
Yes, I'm going to show you that, but I just want to see how you breathe naturally. So just like, that was great. That was really
good.
That was really
Okay.
good. So it's good. It's good for me to start where you're at rather than pretend everything. Let me do a little example first to show you the difference between deep breathing and the short, shallow breaths that we tend to breathe in real life. Just bring your hand like sort of to the center of your chest.
Does it matter if it's right or left?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Good question, though. I appreciate that detail. So we're going to take just like short, shallow breaths, kind of like this. Try that at home. Okay, stop. How does that feel?
Not so great.
Good. Exactly. That's how you breathe. That's how we breathe unconsciously. Short, shallow breaths that actually elicit the sympathetic drive, the fight or flight. We're not aware of it, but what we're doing is because I look at people breathing all the time, and they breathe little short, shallow breaths that actually tell the body things aren't okay. Things aren't good. We need to rev up through the hypothalamus gland, go send the adrenal, all the biochemicals through the message and fight or flight. So your body's on a constant alert system. Now just take a raw, deep breath in again like you did before. Take a breath in. Try that. Good.
I start yawning.
Yes. I'll explain that in a moment. But take that, how did that feel? So take a deep breath.
Oh, it felt better.
Felt better. Okay. So exactly. So your body automatically knows that that is going to create a sense of relaxation. And sometimes we'll get tired because the oxygen level in our body is just a little bit off, and you may be more fatigued than you think already. And what that'll do is bring you back to your natural state. And we're walking around so much more tired than we even admit. So let's do some diaphragmatic breathing. So you put your hands on your belly.
Okay.
And in yoga, we love our bellies.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we say, oh, yes, belly.
Oh, yes, I love my
belly.
belly. It's nice and full of dinner. What can I say? It's good.
Oh, it was a good dinner.
Yeah.
So the beautiful thing about deep breathing is that it can be done anywhere, anytime. People don't even have to know that you're doing it. And you don't need a prescription.
I keep yawning.
That's okay. That's okay. That just is really your body, trying to adjust to the oxygen and carbon dioxide level. That's fine. Yawn big. I tell my students, I go, just let her rip, because sometimes bringing it in kind of feels different. So what we're going to do is inhale through the nostrils, exhaling through that little hole in the mouth. We'll inhale, let the belly open like a balloon, just a little bit of relaxing. So the diaphragm goes down and the belly expands. So take a breath in and let the belly open. Don't worry about the chest, just the belly. And then exhale, press the belly button into the spine. Good. That's all right. That's okay. Inhale, let the belly open. Let the belly, that's it. Just let it become big. Good. Exhale, press the belly button into the spine. Good. Let's do that again. Inhale, let the belly open. Beautiful, Barrie. Exhale, press the belly button into the spine. Try this. Inhale, open. That's it. Exhale, press the belly button toward the spine.
I really want to go to sleep.
That's okay, because it's starting to relax your nervous system right away.
How often do you do this, or how many times do you do it? You just said 3?
We're practicing now, so kind of like 5 times to just kind of get first we're starting with the diaphragmatic breathing. Mm-hmm. So learning that the belly opens upon inhalation and contracts on exhalation. It's the natural course of the belly. What we normally do is go and suck the belly in. So you've noticed babies, when they breathe, their bellies are full and open. They're not paying rent. They're not worried about anything. So their diaphragm naturally flows in and out. So that's what we try to do, is bring back the natural flow of the diaphragm. Again, inhaling open, just your belly. Exhale, contracting. Perfect. Then we create an awareness of the thoracic breathing, so the breath in the rib cage. So just bring your hands on your rib cage, relax your shoulders. Good. And you could do it by hugging yourself too.
Kind of like that better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're just kind of touching the rib cage anywhere with your fingertips. So I'm going to do this just to illustrate. So now we're going to focus on the rib cage, expanding upon inhalation and contracting on exhalation, similar to a bellows. Inhaling, opening the rib cage. Exhaling, press the rib cage in toward the spine. Good. Now I'm aware that I want to put my hands on you. So inhaling, letting the rib cage expand. Exhaling, pressing the rib cage in.
How do you do that in your stomach at the same time?
Don't worry about the stomach right now. We're just breaking them up into 3 parts.
Okay.
But that's a perfect question. So let the belly relax now. Thank you for bringing that up. Now we're just going to notice the participation of the rib cage during breath. So we were noticing the belly's participation during breath. Now we're going to notice the rib cage's participation during breath. You know what I mean? Okay. So I'll show you. I'll demonstrate. So you go inhale. The rib cage widens, and then exhale.
Holy moly.
And the rib cage contracts. I was showing off a little bit, but not that too much. But just to show you, start to get real breath control. So, in other words, you just feel the inhalation. You notice how long and slow the exhalation. That's automatically going to really increase that parasympathetic drive. That's what's making you yawn a little bit. So let's just do this a couple more times to see if you can get the participation of the rib cage during breath. Inhale, open. Feel like a bellows. That's it. Exhale. Beautiful. Good, good, good. Don't go too much. Good. I'm so glad you're yawning. It's really good. It's really
Okay.
good. Okay, 2 more times.
2 more.
Yeah. Go ahead. So try inhale. Let the rib cage open. Exhale. Because you're strengthening a muscle now, the intercostal muscles. Inhaling, opening. Exhaling, contracting. Good. So did you get sort of an awareness of that? A sense of the rib cage's participation in breath? Did you notice that the rib cage opens? And that's all. Just it's like getting some kind of muscle knowing that the rib cage plays a part in your breath. I don't think we think about that. I think we think about just the chest. You know?
Yeah, I never think about my rib cage or my belly.
Right, or your belly, exactly. So what we're doing is really waking up to an ancient understanding of the power and the fullness of breath, because in a culture, we breathe those little short, shallow breaths that actually also, over a period of time, start to atrophy the lungs. So could you imagine me doing this and the lungs, which is just like this balloon, mushy tissue thing, for lack of, just to keep that simple, and it expands and contracts. So if we're opening it more and then relaxing, think about a balloon after it's been inflated. It doesn't kind of go in as much, it stays open. So you're actually exercising the lungs itself. And then increasing the oxygenation, the carbon dioxide, the heart rate, the muscle. And every time you breathe, the diaphragm is actually connected to the pericardium, which is the sheath around the heart. So when you do full, deep breathing, you actually massage your heart muscle. When I worked with Dr. Oz at the Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center, I did a lot of research on what were some of the techniques I could use for the cardiac patients to create some relaxation. And deep breathing was the most powerful thing that I was able to teach them, especially because you can do it anywhere, anytime, especially if you're under stress. So let's do the third part of the deep part, the three-part breath. In yoga, it's called the Dirga breath. So we start to inhale from the belly into the ribs, now into the heart, into the collarbones.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, now exhale. Okay, instead, place your hands softly on your heart and watch the little mic. So it's not a sense of bringing it up like this. Okay, it's soft, it's open belly, open ribs, and just see what's open in your heart. So just feel it. So it's inhale, three parts, belly, ribs, that's it, right there. Okay, good enough. And then exhale, that's it, ribs, belly into your spine. Close your eyes for a moment and just listen. Okay, inhale, open belly, open ribs into the heart. Just hold it, that's okay. Exhale, heart, ribs, belly. Continue. Inhale, open belly, open ribs, open heart. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. 2 more times. Inhale slowly, belly, ribs into the heart. Doesn't have to go high. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Beautiful. 1 more time, Barrie. Belly, ribs into the heart. Exhale, heart, ribs, belly. Now before you say anything, just put your hands here. Take a sweet, now do it without your hands. Belly, ribs, heart. Soft sigh.
One thing you got to be sure of, you don't do this when you're driving.
No. But how do you feel right now?
Very relaxed.
Very relaxed. Even your hands, I could tell.
Robyn, how often do you do this? I mean, during a course of a day, and how many counts do you do of the deep breathing?
Oh, that's a really great question, Barrie. Well, I do it as often as necessary. It's not something that they've devised and said, take 3 breaths and call me in the morning. Although I have written on a piece of paper to some of my private clients, because they do yoga therapy as well. So some of my clients, I'll literally write, take 3 breaths and call me in the morning, just as a joke. But this is something that you can incorporate anytime, as I was saying, anywhere in your life. So if you're walking along and you notice, so some of the mind-body techniques are to notice when you don't feel balanced before it gets to anything that's extreme. So if you start to notice you're feeling just a little anxious or a little imbalanced, just take 3 deep breaths. You can take 1. But try to take 3, and you were doing it so beautifully, Thank you. And it will really relax your nervous system. And that's the key, is recuperation and balance of the nervous system, so that that fight or flight energy isn't constantly elicited in your system.
Robyn, thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining
It was a
me.
pleasure.
It's
I
great.
really
Now I'm
enjoyed
going to
it.
have to go practice and not fall asleep when I'm
Oh,
practicing
no.
my
That's
deep
okay.
breathing.
Just be real. You can fall asleep.
And are you going to be practicing the deep breathing? Love to hear from you and how it's changed your life. Bye now.